there was a big gap in the market. It was more around, financial gain rather than like focusing on the participant.
How a lot of people run their houses, instead of looking after what the participant wants, it's often the case of, okay, we're running the business and this house like this, you need to conform to those standards. And I don't want to do that. I want to make sure that the participants feel comfortable in their own homes.
We have that approach where we think about, if this happened to us, what would we want for ourselves?
For our family members
Yeah.
and everybody around us.
It comes from the heart. And I think it shows, when you come into our home as well, that it is very heart-driven.
Obviously, running a business, you need to balance both the finances with the care side. How do you go about balancing that?
Well, to be honest, we have spent a lot of money on the business.
Every SIL provider knows the challenges: compliance, rosters, claims. But what if you could work smarter, grow faster, and make a bigger impact? Welcome to SILosophy, where we have real conversations about what it takes to succeed in supported independent living. This podcast is powered by Tania Gomez Consulting and Resolve. Let's get into it.
So welcome to SILosophy. Today I'm joined by Susan and Leanne from Sunflower Help. So thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you for having us.
for having us, yes.
So nice to meet you in person for the first time as well. To begin with, I wanted to really talk about a journey of a SIL provider. And I wanted to know a little bit first about what inspired you to start Sunflower Hub and why you decided to be a SIL provider specifically.
So we both have been working in the NDS space for quite some time, and we had some amazing people that have shown us what we would like to do as a SIL provider ourselves. And after a little while, we found there was a bit of a gap in the market, especially around more holistic approach to participants. And then after a couple months, we met each other finally through working as well. And that's how we started a bit of the business, and very slowly
We had the same vision, we had the same values, and like Leanne said, there was a big gap in the market. It was more around, financial gain rather than focusing on the participant. And we really wanted to focus on the participant because Leanne lives with someone who lives with disability, and I have as well. So we have that approach where we think about, if this happened to us, what would we want for ourselves?
Our family members and everybody around us.
And I feel like we've nailed it. I really do. I think if you come to our homes, it's warm, it's calm, people are laughing.
It feels like a house, like your normal home. And we want to really that the participants feel like it's their house. And we're in there to support them, but it's their house, their lives. They are together and have that community sense with one another.
Yeah.
That's really beautiful. What is your why? So why are you've both talked about some lived experience. Is that what drives you to work with people with disability?
Definitely on my side of thing, I have a stepson with cerebral palsy, and I want to make sure that he comes into a house later on in his life that he feels comfortable in, and that he is looked after the way I would look after him at the moment he's in our house. So I really want to set up something for him later in his life that he feels comfortable in, and he can have his life the way he chooses to live, instead of conform with how a lot of people run their houses. Instead of looking after what the participant wants, it's often the case of, okay, we're running the business and this house like this, you need to conform to those standards. And I don't want to do that. I want to make sure that the participants feel comfortable in their own homes.
Yeah, same for me. So I have a cousin who at the age of 30 became a quadriplegic through an operation that he had. He has 3 young children, and I didn't want choices to be taken from him. So just watching his journey and, asking those questions that you wouldn't normally be able to ask a stranger, to really drill down into what they need and how they want to live, now that they have a disability. So, it comes from the heart. And I think it shows, when you come into our home as well, that it is very heart-driven.
Yes, and the same with our staff members. We pick them out on purpose because they're so driven, and I want to make sure that the participants live their lives, how they want to live it. And that's very important to us too, that you get a really good team that wants to make a difference.
And are there for the right reasons.
Yes.
That sounds like you've kind of got a bit of a winning recipe there between lived experience, passion for doing this, selecting staff and creating homes. You've talked about a gap in the market because other people were financially motivated. Obviously, running a business, you need to balance both the finances with the care side. How do you go about balancing that?
Well, to be honest, we have spent a lot of money on the business since starting, because we wanted to provide all of our support workers with the training that we both talk about. We wanted to make sure we had the right nurses in place to, do the medication training, to do the hoist training, all that sort of stuff. We wanted to spend it on the people that we're looking after. Like, it's not motivated by money for us.
No, not at all. Like, everything what we have made at the moment is all being put back to staff members. And it's especially because we want to get them the right training, the right tools, so they look better after our participants. Yeah. And that's the most important part. It's not about a good balance on if we're getting good money in. It wants to make sure that we're
getting good money.
No, not at the moment, because we're putting so much back to the participants and to the staff members. Yeah. Like, we spend so much money on specific trainings, like mental health training. We have so many participants in mental health. So we've done a lot of money into that specific training to make sure that everybody knows what they're doing, how to help better. Plus, then you have better staff retention. So then the participants don't have that much turnover, and they don't have to get to know someone else again every single time. Yeah. So it's just important that we're doing those things, and especially with the registered nurses that we're getting in as well to help with all the trainings. It's been really, really good to do that. So yeah, it's a hard balance, but it's not there yet.
Yeah. Okay. And what do you think has been some of the challenges you've had on the way, and how have you overcome those?
There have been so many challenges.
I would say we had quite a few. Luckily, you helped us with some of them.
Thank you, my gosh.
Which was really good, especially around the audit process. We had some fun struggles to set that all up.
Because there isn't a lot of information out there, when you Google, and we were looking for a really great package.
Yeah, we had some struggles with that, and then we found you, luckily, to help us with a lot of stuff, which was amazing, because otherwise I don't think we would have gone through our audits that smoothly. Yeah. But besides audits, I think we did a lot of day-to-day struggles, with staff members that could potentially use some extra training. You highlight that you need to find another training source or anything else that's on a day-to-day basis. Yeah. We're finding at the moment as well with a lot of participants that their NDS package doesn't cover enough for them, which we've been shipping in to certain participants that we've been buying, that they actually need a hoist, and then the NDS package doesn't cover a hoist. So we've been buying those things ourselves to make sure that they get the care they need. But
we've also been through a couple of payroll people and accounts people to find that right fit for us.
We found it hard to find a really good accountant that actually knows what they're doing, and with payroll and stuff like that. We had
So it took a little while for us to get our jam, but I think now, it's been 8 months, and we're really just starting to, see some rewards from all that hard work we've put in, and long days and lots of long nights.
Lots of long nights, lots of weekends. But that's it. We've only been operating for 8 months now, and we're finally getting that roll going, and it's getting a lot smoother. Things are running properly.
But also our name is starting to get out there. So we've already had a presence within the NDIS in Brisbane, but now people are hearing the Sunflower Girls, which we love. We kind of, it wasn't our intention to be the Sunflower Girls, but we kind of like that. So
we love it when different support coordinators call, I heard something about you, Sunflower Girls. And we're like, oh, hey, hello.
Yeah. And it always makes people smile, when you talk about sun and sunflowers. So it's a nice, happy name. Yeah. It's got a special meaning to us as well. So...
And if you were to give some advice to a brand new provider looking at SIL as their next step, what would be some of the lessons that you wish you could tell them, or that you wish someone told you, that might have prevented some of the issues or challenges that you've had?
Do your research. Really do your research. Talk to people that are successful. Going to your conference as well was meaningful for me because there were so many successful providers that were happy to share. And we are happy to share. We're happy to collaborate with, like-minded people. So that would be my advice.
Definitely. And then finding the right people to get advice from. See what is successful, what's not successful. Like, we only started talking to people after a couple months about what is working for them, what's not working for others. And then we realized, we're doing certain things in the long run. It's not going to help. Yeah. It's not the right thing. Same with the policies and procedures to get them from the get-go instead of starting to run a company. And then after a couple months, you're like, hey, let's get some stuff running and going.
But we also thought that we could, because we had worked with other providers and that was our jam in that role, we thought we could manage that.
And write everything ourselves.
And
but you don't have time if you run a business anymore, which we realized in the long run that it wasn't them.
Yeah, so getting expert help in all different areas. Same as accountants, right? I found it took me years to find a good accountant, but now that I have one, they're worth their weight in gold.
Correct.
And even sometimes when I see the bill come in from the accountants, I have second guessed a few times, and then I remember back to the pain of when I didn't have a good accountant, and it's like, actually, he's worth his weight in gold.
Yeah,
he could keep him around a little bit longer.
Mistakes, and you don't want that because you want to be seen as professional as well.
Yeah.
And mistakes when you're doing payroll, it's not professional.
Yeah, and staff just have no patience or tolerance if you get their pay wrong, or if it's late by an hour or a day. It's definitely something that upsets people.
Yeah.
And you really lose trust really quickly if you don't pay people on time. I find that even with paying invoices, I find that there's a lot of distrust. If you tell someone it's going to be paid next week and your payroll person is away, or your accounts payable person doesn't do pay run that week, they're not pay run, just paying invoices that day, they pay it the next day. Just that distrust with your suppliers really creates a bad working relationship with people that you rely on. So I think the money side of it is really important to get right, as is the compliance side. I think that getting your bases covered in the beginning is a good idea. And I think as you do these things get easier. Are you seeing now that it is paying off, having these foundations you've now spent and invested in?
Yeah,
definitely.
so easy. Like your package that you gave to us, it's everything's there. We don't have a gap in anything that we have. Like the policy package is spot on. We use it all the time. And, even the other day we referred back to it for address policy. So
yeah, we're using it on a day-to-day basis so much. Everything that you gave to the consulting time, we're using it on a day-to-day basis, and especially to get back to the staff and say, this is working, this is not working. And every time we come with different things from them, they're like, oh, maybe you need to change the word the here and there. And we've been doing that just to make sure that it works for us as a company as a whole, which has been really good.
Yeah. You're very proactive as well. You're very proactive with paperwork and keeping on top of things, which is great.
Yes.
What do you think is the best part for you of being a SIL provider? What do you find the most rewarding?
The rewarding part is definitely seeing the participants grow and laugh, and the family members are happy for them. Like we had over the weekend in one of the houses, we had a barbecue with everybody. It was like everybody's birthday within the same month. So we did a massive barbecue with all the families coming around. And some of the family members haven't seen each other, over 18 months when one of the participants was in the hospital for that long. And they all haven't seen each other. They all had grandchildren, and the participant was not really happy for last couple of weeks. And everybody was together and everybody was laughing. We got so much feedback from the family and from all the other stakeholders, like, oh, this was such a good time. And finally we're all together. We haven't seen their dad for such a long time in a happy space. And it was just so rewarding to get everybody together and being happy and making sure they live the life they want to live. And it also gave them some motivation to do some more stuff, getting more out there. And it was just really nice. And those things make it worthwhile.
Yeah, definitely.
Like all the struggles, that's definitely worth it if we get those days. Yeah.
And we've also had one of our participants' mother come to us crying because finally she has some respite. She's letting us manage all the appointments, all of the doctors.
Mum can be mum again, which was really nice.
And it's very important for us, for her to be mum, so that she can come in and she can just, take them out and have laughs herself, because it's been a long time and a long struggle for them.
Yes.
So that for us, the pain and,
The long
sacrifice,
nights.
because, you've had to be taken away from your family.
A lot, but it's now getting finally back to it that we have more time with that, which is good.
Yeah.
So it's all been worth it in the end, but it was a bit of a struggle in the beginning.
Yeah. Startup land is hard, right?
Yes.
Yeah, the first couple of years of running a business is really hard. It's, you put in a lot of effort before you see anything out there. But hopefully you can see the light at the end of the tunnel now, and you're on the other way.
We're definitely seeing it now because everything is running a lot more smoothly. We've got all the procedures in place. Everything is there. The right software, so it's good.
I was going to say, the other thing is that we genuinely like each other.
Yes,
we
that helps too.
absolutely adore each other. We use each other's strengths to gain knowledge. There's not a day where we're not laughing.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important. It's been a long time that I've had that in my working life.
Yes.
And that's important. This relationship is really important. And, it's hard having a business with, someone that it's hard running a business with any other person.
It's like a marriage.
It is.
And the consequences are very much like a divorce if it doesn't go well.
Yeah.
So you want to put in the effort and work through those things. I think that's very important. I think very often we go into business relationships with someone that we think is good in business, or we've come across them without really thinking about it, where, before you get married, you date someone, you're engaged to someone, you do things, you talk about long-term things, but often you forget that when you're going into a business relationship.
Definitely.
So it's great that you found someone that you can have that with, and that you can have a long and successful partnership based on that foundation. Again, it's all coming back to building those building blocks and how important they are to get those things right to help you then continue to grow together.
Definitely, because in the beginning when we first started the business, we got some really good advice from someone that said, take an hour a day, an hour a week, and turn your phones off and have some time together and talk to one another and see what's wrong, what went well this week, what do you want to achieve next week. And that's what we've been doing every week. We take an hour a week to talk to one another, like, okay, this week, this were my struggles, and this is what I want to achieve next week. And also anything that then between us, like we never have arguments, luckily. It will come at some point. Touch wood. I want to say, it will probably at some point come. But at the moment, because we're taking that time every week to talk to one another, our phones off, just have an hour, just actually connect to one another. Like, what do we want to achieve? What went wrong? What went well this week? And then we can move forward from it. Yeah. And it's been really, really helpful.
Our relationship is based a lot on honesty and trust. And I think that, I don't even know how it works so well.
It's crazy.
Yeah, but I absolutely adore her. You could probably tell.
Yeah. But we have the same with our team. Like, we're constantly telling them, call us. Tell us anything. If you're struggling with anything, debrief, call us, have conversations. So we do talk a lot with our staff members, like probably a bit too much, but it works for us. Like we have those conversations with them. We can help them grow. We can find...
It's very important in the NGS. Yes. Everyone's so heart-centered that you really do need to have those conversations and connect with people. And, it's that feeling of trust. And I guess for you with your staff, it's also you being in that visionary role, right? You're setting the vision, you're securing, you're creating that safe work environment for them. There's this, I'm probably going to get the quote wrong, but there's this quote that says that what a true leader is when everyone else is scrambling and don't know what to do, the leader is the person that stands up and says, right, I've got this. This is what we're doing. It's okay. Creates that sense of peace in the chaos. And there's lots of chaos in a SIL home and in the NGIS. Yeah. So you really need to be that stable, centerpiece that's able to say to people, I've got you. I'm here. You're not alone. We're doing this together, and reminding them the reason why when it's been a tough day. Yeah. So it sounds like you do that really well.
Yes.
Tell me about what your goals are for the future. Where would you like to see yourself in the future? Do you have an idea of how many houses you want? Do you want to be in other locations? What is your goal?
I want to say we have a couple goals.
Yeah, we do.
So we do want to grow into more of the SIL homes and duplicate what is working in the houses that we're currently doing. But we don't know how big we want to get. As long as we can work it really well and making sure that we still give our hearts to the business and are able to come around. Like we're now currently going at least once a week to every of the houses and to the participants. So we have those communications with them. So it depends on how fast we're growing and how we can manage everything. That's probably our stopping point at some point. But our biggest goal is at the site starting a hub, a community hub, which will be a non-for-profit that we're trying to organize. And that will be like a community hub to set up for young, in their 20s to mid-30s potentially, participants to come and meet one another, do activities together. We haven't really seen any of the hubs for those type of participants, especially with the mental health side of things, to meet other like-minded people. And
but we want it to be community-led as well. So,
Yes.
you know, a not-for-profit is also a not-for-loss. So all of the funds that come in are going to go straight back into it. But we want the younger people, regardless of whether they have a disability or not, to tell us what they need, what they see. You know, we want a place for them to come and dance and meet each other and, you know, date perhaps, because we find that's a massive gap in the industry as well, like within the NDIS. So it's a lot to talk about.
yeah,
We
it's all in the beginning stages of what we want to do.
Yeah, for sure.
We've been talking with so many participants. They're all like, oh, there's this gap around a community hub. And we're slowly gathering that information and seeing what we can organize and how we can set it up.
So that's the whole reason that we called Sunflower Hub, because it's what we really focused on. We wanted to, but it's also the SIL home is also our hub.
Yes.
And, you know, we talk about person-centered approach, and I don't want to lose touch of that.
Yeah.
Because it really does mean something. And if we're saying it, we need to be doing it, you know? And I think that's a huge gap within those bigger organisations.
Because at some point you lose touch. Who's in your business? What are they doing? Which participants
And why
you
are
have?
they doing it?
That's it. Yeah. So it's important to us that we still keep in touch with everybody
Yeah.
as much as we can. Yeah. And get people under us, working for us, that have the same mentality.
Yeah.
Quite important to keep them to do the same thing.
I think that's great. If there is someone listening today who wanted to reach out to you to learn more about what you do, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
They can go on www.sunflowerhub.com.au.
I'd say on the website there's inquiry part of it as well, where they can contact us.
Yeah.
Which is probably the
our phone
easiest
number's
way.
on there as well.
LinkedIn,
LinkedIn.
we're on there too.
Yeah.
Instagram.
Yeah, all of the
Facebook.
socials.
Yeah.
All
We're
the
not
normal
very
socials.
active on there yet. That's our next approach, marketing.
We're just too much working for the business than actually trying to do these things, but it will come.
But yeah, I mean, you know, our main goal was to be registered, especially with all the new changes.
Yes.
So
Which is amazing. We're still waiting for it to come in, but it's getting there.
yes, we did have the email that said, you know, it's
been
gone.
sent,
So
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining me today. That was amazing to hear all about your journey as a provider, and I can't wait to see what you guys do next.
Amazing.
Thank
Thanks,
you so
Tanya.
much.
Thank you.
That's a wrap on this episode of SILosophy. If this resonated with you, take a second to subscribe and share it with someone in the SIL space who really needs to hear this. Don't forget to connect with Tania Gomez Consulting on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook for more resources, conversations, and support to help you grow your impact. Thanks for listening. Until next time, keep making a difference.